In this video, we're going to look at creating dot plots, box plots, and histograms on our CAS calculator. Starting with dot plots, let's look at this scenario. A teacher asked 20 students how many hours they spent revising for their recent general maths test. Their responses, rounded to the nearest hour, are recorded below. And we have 20 values there. To turn this data into a visual dot plot, we need to follow the following steps. Firstly, we input our data into our list and spreadsheet on our CAS, and we name that column to clearly label that data. I've labeled column B as revise. From here, we need to open a new tab. To do this, the best way is to click Control-I and then to open a Data and Statistics tab. Once we do this, we will see our data is now put into a random array of dots. We're going to click on the bottom tab here and add the variable that we want to put into a graph. The variable we are looking at first is revise. Automatically, this data will be displayed in a dot plot. Now, looking at our dot plot, we might need to be able to identify some key statistics or values from this visual. Firstly, we might be asked to find the mode. The mode is the most frequently occurring value in the data set. So if we look at our dot plot, we can see that the number 6 for 6 hours has 4 dots, and it is the highest or most frequently occurring value on our visual. Therefore, the mode of this data set is 6, representing 6 hours of revision. We might also be asked to find the median of this dot plot. To find the median of a data set, we need to find the n plus 1 divided by 2 value. That means if there are 20 students, I need to find 21 divided by 2, which equals the 10.5th dot on our dot plot. So, starting from the minimum, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To get to the 10.5th, I need to go then between 6 and 7. Therefore, the median of this data would be 6.5. I can test this by going from the maximum as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Therefore, the 10.5th data point must fall between these two values. Finally, we might be asked to find the range of this dot plot. The range is the maximum value minus the minimum value. If my maximum value is 12, my minimum value is 3, then my range must be 9. We may also be asked to create a box plot on our CAS. In this data set, we have 20 students' test results. We now want to use the data on our list and spreadsheets in the column A labeled test to create a box plot. I'm going to click Control-I to open up a new tab of Data and Statistics. I'm going to choose my variable test on my x-axis. It will come up with a dot plot, but in this situation, we are asked for a box plot. So we need to go to Menu, Plot Type, and select option 2 for box plot. We can now see our data is represented as a box plot. The far left of this box plot is the minimum. The left side of the blue rectangle is our Q1. The middle line is our median. The right side of the blue box is our Q3. And the far right of our box plot is our maximum. Following our cursor across our box plot on our CAS will highlight these key features. We can also use the rule for IQR to find the length of our blue rectangle, which is our IQR. We can find Q3 minus Q1, and we can find our range by finding the length of the whole box plot, which is our maximum, take away our minimum. Finally, let's look at how we create a histogram on our CAS. This new scenario has a cinema having recorded the number of tickets sold for each of its past 40 screening sessions. The first step is to input this data into my list and spreadsheets on my CAS. I've labeled this column Cinema. Now, if I click Control across, I can switch to the tab I had open earlier for my box plot. Now, I can switch or change the variable by clicking on the variable Revise and changing this to the variable Cinema. I now see a box plot for the cinema ticket sales. However, I want this to be a histogram. So I go to Menu, Plot Type, and I change it to number 3, histogram. I've now created a histogram showing the number of ticket sales across the 40 days in this cinema. At the moment, the width of each of these bars is 2. I would like to change this. To change the bin width or the size of the intervals on my histogram, I need to click on Menu, Plot Properties, Histogram Properties, Bin Settings, and then Equal Bin Width. I can now choose how wide I want the bins or the intervals on my histogram. I'm going to choose intervals of 5 and click OK. We can now see on the scale that the width of each of these columns is 5. However, I can't see the top of all of these columns or bars. So to change the zoom settings on my histogram, I'm going to click on Menu, number 5, Window or Zoom. I'm going to choose option 2, which will zoom so that all of the data is visible on my screen. Now, I can clearly see that the bin widths or the intervals of my data is 5 on my scale, and I can see the highest point of my columns. You may now get questions about this histogram such as, what is the modal interval? The mode is the most frequently occurring value in a data set, and the modal interval is going to be the highest point of our histogram. So this second column goes up to 14 tickets, and so the modal interval on this histogram would be the interval from 5 to 10. I can also then find the median, range, and shape based on looking at my data set.